Good evening everyone, and welcome to Online Racing Network, where I will be commentating tonight on the brand new GTE Championship. And this is hosted by the Mature Racing Club, and this is I'm super excited for this one, I must admit, because I've not seen these GTE cars go round this track. I've not seen the GTE cars go round this game at all. So this will be super exciting for me. There's some new drivers here I don't know about. I know a couple of drivers here, but that's about it. So a very interesting first round choice, let's say. So one of the most demanding circuits, I think, on the calendar. And we'll get straight in with the practice qualifying, and then we'll have a 1.5 hour race. I'm your commentator, Chris Daines, and I will be bringing you tonight's live stream all night long. So we will start this practice session, which will be 15 minutes long. Then we'll go into qualifying for half an hour, and then straight into the 1.5 hour race. The weather, I believe the weather is changeable conditions here. So the weather is preset to 4 different weather selections. So you'll have it dry, you'll have wet racing, and then back to dry, and so it will be I think it'll end on a thunderstorm as well. So this is going to be quite exciting for us to watch, also for the drivers to be out there driving around, seeing exactly what they can show us, and how they're going to prepare their cars for this, how they're going to set these cars up, whether they set it up for a completely dry race, whether they half set the car up for dry and wet. It's going to be really interesting. So like I say, it's 1.5 hours long, this race. We're going to have some casualties during this race, and this is going to be really exciting to see. And what a circuit to start the championship on. 24-hour LeMans, suns are blazing for practice, and first out of the pits we have not Jackson, I believe we have Welsh Dan out on track first in the BMW there. And I do have a list of these cars in front of me. I need to get myself up to speed with these cars. So we have the 2016 BMW M6 GT LM here we're looking at now, the number 88 car of Welsh Dan. So he'll be starting this championship with that car, and no doubt finishing the championship with that car, because I don't think they're allowed to change cars. So this will be an interesting car to watch, because I do know this has quite a high speed, so it'll be very, very handy down these long straights at Le Mans here. Jackson in the Aston Martin, it looks like, the Aston Martin Vantage GTE. So I know in the GT3 category that this Aston Martin has the highest top speed of them all, but I'm not sure how it fares in the GTE category. So this will be interesting for me to see, as well as everybody else. But it'll be good to see these top speeds. So once we get into this session, I'll ride on board with a couple of these drivers, bring up the speedo, and we can see what sort of top speeds they're hitting down these straights, because ultimately that's where everyone's going to be doing most of their overtaking. There's fantastic shots here of these cars. So let's have a look down the order, see who else we can introduce you to. So we got Hammy Mansell. What a name, Mansell. I like it. He's got his lights, Brigg-Belly yellow lights on. What we got there looks like another Aston Martin there. So Hammy Mansell sporting the Aston Martin there with the yellow and red livery. Pro Fubby, this is someone I do know. So Pro Fubby in the GT League as well. So it's good to see him in this. Let's see what I think that was the Porsche, I believe. Yes, he's in the is it a Porsche? Bear with me. No, it's not a Porsche. Let's just it is a Porsche. It is a Porsche. It's a Porsche of some sort. So he's in a very nice looking Porsche there. So Pro Fubby in the Porsche car. I didn't actually know that a Porsche was a GT car. So there we go. Down the order we have Mike. Mike is having a huge accident with someone that's just spun out there. Looks like that's Jackson. Jackson's had a little bit of an issue and come back onto a live track there. Need to be a little bit wary of what's going on around you. have a quick peek on the track before you pull out to a live track there. But Jackson had a little bit of an issue there, so back to Mike. So Mike is in the Corvette. Has just been hit. He's got one light out. This is the other tricky thing as well. We're going to be seeing this race go from daytime to nighttime. So these drivers, what they don't want to do is they really don't want to be smashing their lights out in the first few laps of a day race, because come nighttime, if they're on their own at Le Mans, there is no lights on the side of this track. And as soon as it gets dark, they will be putting their lights on, finding out that their lights are smashed, and they will have to be guessing where to drive. So this could get very interesting if these drivers do tend to smash their lights out, which is quite easy to do on these cars, quite easy to do on this game. So we have a little bit of a spinner there. So yeah, let's go down the order now and see who else we got. Kevin Stone, Kev123. We have in a Ferrari GTE. I do love this car. The Ferrari GTE is always a very decent, safe option to be in, I should think. It's a very stable car through the corners. Got a lot of downforce, a lot of grip, and it's fairly decent out the box, let's say. Just behind him, we have Jaskas in the Ferrari also, looking a little bit twitchy, going through the starter Porsche curves there. Chainsaw is a name I do like, and he's in the Corvette there, so that's the second Corvette I've seen now, so we'll keep an eye out on these Corvettes here, see how well they do. And the original GTE car is the Corvette itself. That wall though is in the Ford GT there, so that's the first Ford GT that we have seen. And a long name, I'm going to call him Brood for this. So Brood is in the Ford GT again, so we have two Ford GTs now. So we have Brood in the Ford GT also, and Kinbuck looks like he's also in the Porsche GT. And Tigger, the host of Mature Racing Club, going on to the gravel as we go to him. So Tigger is the host of this championship. He's set all this up for everyone to join in, and he will be in the Porsche GTE. So we have 14 drivers on the track, and we should see eventually, when they are comfortable with their cars, when they're comfortable with their outlaps, then we should see possibly maybe two laps from a couple of drivers, because we are only 8 minutes left of this session. But these drivers have done extensive testing previously. I know they've done a little bit of a race to get used to conditions and cars and changing conditions, so to speak, as in the light. So it will be interesting to see what sort of pace these guys have got. I have no idea who's fast, who's not. So again, this will be interesting for me. I will try and show you exactly everything that I'm seeing as it happens, and I'm sure I'll get some sort of idea of who the quick guys are and who are midfield runners come qualifying. Let's go to Hammy Mansell, see how Hammy's doing down the straights here. So let's bring up some of these speedos now, see if we can get an idea of speed of these cars. See what they're getting up to down the straights here. I do know these can get up to a decent 170 miles an hour, these GTE cars, so we should be seeing top speeds of around that sort of area. So 173 we got from the Aston Martin down the one of the back straights there. I think that's probably the fastest straight, to be honest, because that is slightly downhill as well. So it'd be interesting to see the BMW as well, see what sort of speeds the BMW can get up to. But he's just going through the Porsche curves at the moment, and Welsh Dan, I'm not quite sure. I believe he's on a yeah, he's on his fast lap, so he should be one to be putting in a time soon. He's just going slightly wide, but he seems to have gathered it up. He's got a decent 24 litres of fuel on board there. And the other thing, these cars will be churning up a lot of fuel through this race, so they'll be pitting for fuel. They'll be pitting for tyres. So even if you fill the tank up with these, I'm not sure you'll get a full tank of fuel through to the end of the race here. So we have a 4-minute 8.5 from Welshdan, and the time's already tumbling. So we have Mike UA, who's done a sub 4-minute lap with a 3-minute 58 in that Corvette. So good lap time there from Mike UA with a sub 4-minute lap, and just behind with Waldo in the Ford GT. It's 3.8 seconds behind so far, but these drivers will be a lot closer come qualifying and come the race. Again, during the race, we've got 15 drivers to look at. We'll try and catch all the action as it happens. And we've just had Brood go through the line on the Ford GT, only 1 second behind pole position there. So 1 second, and we do have 2 extra points for pole position in qualifying. So anyone that qualifies in pole position will gain themselves 2 extra points for their championship to start off. So that'll be a great little start for anyone to grab those points. And we also have 2 points for the fastest lap of the race. So the fastest lap of the race, and we had a major spin there. So 2 points for the fastest lap of the race there also. And so there's some healthy points there for the championship. That could mean the difference between first and second place come the end of the championship. But anyway, we've got Robbie here coming around to finish off his laps, coming through the Porsche curbs. A couple of Ford GTs there. Robbie Keels will come across the line. Let's see what he can do with 4 minutes remaining of the practice session, and then we'll get into the exciting qualifying session that I've certainly been waiting for, to see who has the pace. But it's a half-an-hour session, so that must have been Robbie's outlap, because there was no time set there from Robbie. So here's Tigger now coming through the Porsche curve. So let's see if this is a hot lap. It's very difficult to tell because these split times are not very good in broadcast mode, so I do apologise. The split times don't tend to work very well, but let's see what Tigger goes across the line with. And it's a 3:56, so setting the standard straight away. Tigger, the host, 3:56.7, 1.3 seconds faster than second place. So definitely pushing hard there. Got a setup that seems to work for him, and a 3:56, a very healthy lap there to start off. We have second, third place in the pit lane. We have Waldo on the track. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers in the pit lane at the moment. Porsche curves. Looks like he's got a lot of front end bite with that car there, so looks like he's got plenty of grip on the front end. So let's just have a quick chase view through the final chicanes to see how we're using these curbs nicely there. Very smooth through there. And Waldo improving to a 3:58.5 there, so only 1.8 seconds off pole position. So looking rather close, and for nearly a 4-minute lap to be only a couple of seconds to 3 seconds or so behind is incredibly good. So I think the sub 4-minute laps are what people are looking at, as we have a 3:minute 55 by Pro Fubby. That's 1.1 seconds faster than Tigger. So Pro Fubby setting the standards out there now, and these Porsche GTEs are looking rather handy at the moment. So 1.1 seconds separating the two Porsches, with Mike in the pit lane there. Waldo, let's see who else we got on track. King Buck also in the Porsche GTE. So let's see what we can set. We've got 1 minute left of the session. These drivers are allowed to finish their laps if they cross the line just before the time is up. If they cross the line, they can set another lap. So unlike the first Project Cars, where if the time ran out, you would be forfeiting your lap. In Project Cars 2, they've allowed us to finish our laps, which is fantastic. Good news for everyone. So coming through Porsche curves now, King Buck's looking a little bit wide. No, it's just the camera angle. I need to get used to the camera angle, but it's looking pretty smooth at the moment. Looking very fast, this GTE Porsche, and I do like this. Apologies if I keep saying GTE. I'm so used to the GT3 cars, it's embedded in me. So here we go, coming through the final chicane then. Can he improve on his 4 minute .5? Stays on a 4 minute .5. So we have Pro Fabian first, Tigger second, Mike UA third. Top threes, only 2.5 seconds separating the top three there. 300 seconds apparently we've got until the end of the session here. And we'll go straight into the qualifying, where we will see these lot battle it out for our first round qualifying. And bearing in mind we have 2 points on offer for pole position here. And wrong button there, sorry about that. So we will give you a rundown of the points for the race. So once I get rid of the timing screen, in the race what we're going to see is we're going to see 18 points for the win. So we have 18 points for the win. Second place is 15 points, third place 14 points, and fourth place 13 points. So it will go 1 point, subsequent 1 point down to 16th place, which is 1 point. So 16th will get 1, 15th will get 2 points, 14th 3 points, and so on, all the way up to second place that gets 15 points, and then first place gets 18 points, meaning there's a decent 3 points extra available if you can win this race, or win any race from here on in this championship. We still have 3 drivers on the track. Let's just see who's finishing off those. We've got Bullseye on track here with the, he's looking, maybe he's made a mistake, he's just come down a bit of slowness. He's in the Ford GTE there, Ford GT, and just cruising, taking in the sights, enjoying the sun while it's out, because no doubt it will rain, and I tell you it will rain later on in this race. So these drivers better have their windscreen wipers all checked, ready, and get ready to put on the fastest mode they can get, because I believe a thunderstorm will be coming in this race. And we have Moley, 1983, the year I was born, and we'll see Moley. He's not set a lap yet, so he may have been a late joiner here, but he is just finishing off his lap here, so he's got a bit of a dented front end there, but I shouldn't think that will affect him too much. As long as his lights still work, that's the main thing, because you'll need those. So coming through the Porsche curves. The Porsche curves is always the most challenging part of this track. It tests how the driver can set his car up, because that is really where that's where the time will be made. Down the straights, yes, time will be made if you have a different car to somebody else, but coming through Porsche curves is where all the time, as he makes a little bit mistake, too deep on the brakes, and loses the back end there, so he will retire back to the pit lane. But as I was saying, the Porsche curves really test the driver's ability to set the car up, and that is where most of the time will be made, as we are looking at King Buck now in the Porsche. Let's just, I'll have a quick look and see if there's any GTE cars that are not being used. So we've seen the Ferrari GTE, we've seen the Ford, Corvette, we've seen Aston Martin and the BMW and the Porsche. So actually we have every single GTE car out there that is available in this game. There is at least one car on the grid, so good to see. Good variety of cars. And I do think this is going to be one track where qualifying, yes, you got 2 points for pole position, but I don't think qualifying's the be-all and end-all in this, because it's almost better to start either right at the front or somewhere near the back, because there will be incidents midfield going into turn 1, turn 2, if you want to curl it, turn 2, into this corner just here, the left-hander, right-hander chicane. Here is where the incidents will be. You don't want to be stuck in midfield, as King Buck goes through with a 4:02.7. So the Timans, we have Pro Fubby in first, Tigger second, Mike in third, Dat Waldo in fourth, Brood Gel Bulla in fifth, King Buck in sixth, seventh we have Welsh Dan, eighth we have Hammy Mansell, Robbie Kills in ninth, to Chainsaw in 10th, Bullseye Burn in 11th, with Jaskas in 12th. 13th we have Kevin Stone, 14th Jackson, and 15th we have Moley 1983, who didn't manage to complete a lap. Everyone's in the pit box, we're ready for this qualifying session, we're ready to get underway, we're waiting for this session to be completed with only 10 seconds left before we go into quali. Who will be on pole? At the moment, top 3, Pro Fubby, Tigger and Mike are all looking pretty handy for that pole position. 2 of them with the Porsche, Mike Yue, can't quite remember what car he's in, but I got a feeling he might be in the BMW, but I could be wrong. So the practice session's now over, and we'll be heading into the qualifying session. Actually, there we go, Mike is in the Corvette there, so just wait for this session to get going. So here we go, 30 minutes of this session begins now. And we have drivers leaving the pit lane, and I should think you will see everyone leave the pit lane pretty quickly here. Let's see, so we got Moley 1983 out on track first, so Moley will hit the track first. Make sure you don't cross that white line there. Who else we got out? Hammy Mansell's leaving the pits. Pro Fubby stays in the pit lane with Mike Yue out on the track. Calvin Stone on the track. Jaskas still in the pit lane, Chainsaw out on the track, Waldo in the pit lane, Brood in the pit lane, King Buck out on track, and of course Tigger is on the track. So everyone will need this half an hour to be used very well. You don't want to be making any contact with anyone, you need to keep that car fresh, keep those tyres fresh, warm them tyres up, warm the car up on the outlap, and create some space for your flying lap. What you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be stuck behind someone on your fast lap. Yes, it's nice to get a decent slipstream and a nice tow, but at the end of the day, it's very off-putting when you're sitting behind someone down the straights because you can't quite see your own braking points. And, that can be very, very off-putting. So let's now bring up the track map so I can see exactly who will be the first driver to give us our hot lap. So Moley is ahead of the pack here, as we've just had Robbie Kills just disconnect, but he's rejoined again, which is good. So Moley will be the first one to set a lap. So what he needs to do now is he needs to get his brakes up to temperature, tyres up to temperature, not scrub too much life out the tyres. Make sure he doesn't hit the curbs too hard, because that does give you aero damage if you hit those curbs too hard. And also stay away from those bollards, those green bollards, which are located on the inside of the chicanes down the straight. Look at the length of these straights. I do love this track. I love driving this track myself. And see some speeds, see some serious speeds, and in the slipstreams I'm sure we'll see some even better speeds. Ferraris, I'll be keeping an eye on those Ferraris, because I do know they're quite quick down the straights as well. So I'm just trying to get used to where everyone is on track so I can make sure I flick. So the second one to come across the line will be Chainsaw. So Chainsaw just after Moley. Chainsaw will be the second one. So once he's gone across the line, we'll switch to Chainsaw, see how we're getting on. I think everyone's got a fairly decent gap between everyone else. As we have Mike UA has only just left the pit lane here, so he's definitely given himself some clear air here. So, and that's probably the best way. Gives you full concentration. You can see your braking points without any distraction of anyone else. So Mike's a driver that doesn't like any distractions, but there are some drivers that do like a pointer, a guider in front of them, pulls them along, as we see Hammy Mansell just backing off the throttle a bit to create some space just before he starts his flying lap before Porsche curves. So let's switch to Moley now as he comes through Porsche curves, as he will be the first one to start his flying lap. Coming to the last chicane, so no lockups, get a good swing out the chicane, and then to start Moley's lap. Oh, and he's gone deep. He's gone deep already, and he's going to mess up. That's going to lose him at least a second already into his flying lap. So he's going to have to go again if he wants to make a better lap time, because already I can guarantee you he's probably lost a second. A really good out lap, good warm-up lap. On the last corner, he's just gone wide. And already I think that's probably going to put him off. He's missed the apex for turn 2 as well. So a really scruffy start to the lap from Moley. That's a shame. So he'll definitely have to go again there. So we'll just go down to Chainsaw, which let's hope has had a better start to the lap in that Corvette. As we have someone behind him. I can't say, as Chainsaw goes wide onto the grass. Won't do any good for this corner here. He'll have very grassy tyres. Holds it straight there. So yeah, real bad start there for Moley. So we have that Waldo just starting his lap, coming into the first corner. Very easy to get your brakes and brake too late for this corner, but he's taken that perfectly there. I do love the look of this car. It's like a pancake. So streamlined, but it's interesting car. So that Waldo having a good start to the lap there with a couple of corners, but when I say start to the lap, he's got quite a few more corners and straights yet. But believe it or not, on this track, the 4-minute track, there is only 11 braking zones. That's it. There's only 11 times you brake on this track, which is amazing to think. It's 177 miles an hour, 178, 179 miles an hour from that Ford GT. So that is looking extremely fast down the straights there. So we'll watch out for that one. As Pro Fubby's just coming out the pits now. And also we have Robbie Kill still in the pit lane there. So Welsh Dan in a BMW. Pushing it as hard as it can, but it doesn't look like it's got the top speed of the Ford GT with 169 to 170 miles an hour. I think the Ford GT just looks like it's one of the fastest in a straight line. I could be wrong, but at the moment it does look like that's quite a handy ticket for the straights. As we have Tigger, I believe he's just left the pit, so he may have made a mistake. He's gone back out again, so we have 22 minutes. Oh, just gone 23 minutes left of the session. So these drivers are definitely going to have to get a banker lap in very soon if they're to think and not leave themselves too much. If they're to think about putting themselves anywhere near the front of the grid, they need a banker lap. Otherwise, they're going to leave it all to do at the end of the session, which is not the best strategy because you're under pressure as that Waldo, not Rob, Waldo goes wide onto the gravel. So yeah, they don't want to leave themselves too much pressure at the end. Let's have a quick check on Chainsaw, who's being caught by the Porsche behind him there. And we'll just check on Moley, see the rest of his laps, see how well he's getting on now. So we will now be getting our first lap times in. So these will be the drivers' banker laps. These could possibly be their fastest laps, because with the 20 minutes left remaining, it is a 4 minutes to get around this track, so you need to leave yourself a decent 8 or 9 minutes. I'd say you need to leave 8.5 minutes if you want to leave the pit lane. You need to leave the pit lane 8.5 minutes, but no, mind you can finish your laps, can't you? Of course you can. So as long as you leave a good 5 minutes leaving the pit lane, then you'll definitely get another lap in. So you can leave the, yeah, that's right, so you can leave the pits with 5 minutes remaining. You should, as we have Moley about to finish his lap. We know it's a scruffy lap. We did see a little bit of a scruffy lap there from Moley, and he'll come with a 4:10. So yeah, he'll definitely be looking to improve on that. As we have King Buck with a 4:03, Chainsaw with a 4:09 there. So all these drivers getting a decent banker lap in there. And King Buck leading the way at the moment with a 4:03. Who else we got coming across the line? Pushed down as we have a 3:57 from Brood, so that Ford GT is looking rather handy at the moment. So definitely one to look out for, as only 1/10 of a second by the other Ford GT of that, although 1/10 of a second on this 4-minute lap. Fantastic stuff there, and that's super close there. So we'll be definitely looking at those two in those Ford GTs. That's looking mighty handy around this track. But let's not forget, this is a long championship. This may favour the Ford GT around this circuit, but other tracks it may not be too friendly to that Ford itself. So as he smashes into the walls there and nearly takes the marshals out with him there, so he better retire to the pits, get off the track there. So obviously pushing extremely hard, but still only 1/10 behind. He's still got plenty of time to get out on track. You can still put in another 3 laps if he needs there. As we have Jazzcast with a 4:08 there, so everyone be getting in there banker laps here. So now we've got some times on the boards. They will definitely be looking to improve those, but those 3-minute 57s there from first and second are rather handy. But we have seen faster lap times in practice, so we do know that they can be beaten. We saw a 3-minute 55 from Pro Fubby in the practice session, so we know he's got some pace. Speaking of which, let's have a look, see how we're getting on as Pro Fubby comes across the finish line. Is he going to set his out lap? He's on, so he's just about to start his fast lap now. So we will see how he can get on with his fast lap. I know he'll definitely be wanting to look at getting pole. He won't accept anything more than pole. But also we've got to look at Tigger as well. Tigger's definitely going to be one of those drivers who's just coming around the first corner as well. So these two will definitely be looking out for, as Mike UA comes through with a 4:10. So some good banker laps put in there from everyone. And we got Robbie Kills coming through. Where's Robbie Kills? I can't quite figure out where he is at the moment. Is this? Yeah, this is Porsche Curves. So he's coming through Porsche Curves. So just stay with Robbie Kills and see what he does. I think I'll just call him Robbie for the stream here. So Robbie coming through Porsche Curves, and we'll see what this Ford GT. We've seen the other two Ford GTs go extremely quick at the moment, with only 1/10 separating them, and we'll see what this Ford GT does now. So I've no idea who these drivers are, how fast these drivers are. So this is interesting for me as well to see who is who, and who can really lay their markers down here, as Robbie comes across the start-finish line now with an anti-climax, as that was his out lap. I tell you what this game needs. It needs something just by their name to say out lap. That would be fantastic. If you could do that for me, please. Slightly mad, that would be excellent. And then I wouldn't sound like an idiot when the anti-climax of a possible fast lap when actually it's an out lap. So we will go down to we've got someone coming through the final corners. There we go, we've got Kevin Stone here. We'll look at Kevin Stone and his Ferrari, and Kevin's already put in a 4:10 here, as we have someone else that's just gone quicker with, let's just just get these timings up, timing screen. So Brood in first, Dabbldo second, King Buck third, Moley in fourth, with Bullseye Burn in fifth, Chainsaw sixth, Jazzcast seventh, Hammy Mansell eighth, Kevin Stone ninth, and Mike UA in 10th so far. As Kevin Stone improves to a decent fourth place there with a 4:06.8. So a massive improvement there. So 4-second improvement there from Kevin Stone. And again, he's got now 16 minutes, so he'll slow that machine down, possibly retire to the pit lane, get some fresh rubber on that car, and try and set a new lap time there. We've got Moley in the pits, Bullsburn just leaving the pits now. And King Buck still sitting healthy in third place. Still to see a time from Robbie. Welsh Dan in that BMW. I think he's the only one in the BMW as well, in that Pirelli BMW. I've not seen anyone else in one, so I do believe he's the only one. As Fubby's coming around the Porsche curve, so this is his fast lap. We are looking, he will not accept anything less than a sub 4-minute lap, so we will stay with Pro Fubby now. With only 15 minutes left, coming through the final 2 chicanes now. Tigger's closely behind him. I know Tigger's there as well, so we'll switch to Tigger when we can. But we've got Pro Fubby coming through the final 2 chicanes now. Can he beat a 3-minute 57.1? Yes, 3 minutes 55.2. So that's faster than his last lap in practice session. But Tigger's coming across the line. He wants to beat a 355.2, 354.9 for Tigger. That's a fantastic lap with only 3/10 separating those two. So the top 4 are looking closely contested, with the top 2 so only 3/10 away, and third and fourth only a 1/10 away. So this is going to be really harding up towards the end of the session, with 15 minutes exactly remaining now. So those two looking like they're going to be the men to beat so far. As we look further down the field for Robbie and Welsh Dan. I think Welsh Dan's just started his he's just started his fast lap, and Robbie's about to complete his fast lap, so he's coming down the last of the long straights, coming over to Porsche curves now. And a little bit twitchy there from the 4GT. Has he lost it? He's lost it and put it into the wall. He needs to get back into the pits because he's only got 15 minutes now. He's back into the pits. He's got to put some new tyres on that thing, and he's got to get out because he's got 15 minutes left. He's really stacking the pressure up on himself now to get a lap in. Because if he doesn't get a lap in soon, he will be starting near the back of the grid, because that is not the ideal situation. But as I said, in the race situation itself could be a blessing in disguise, because what you don't want to be doing is starting midfield. I could be wrong. These drivers could be absolutely excellent and could all get through the first corner, and I'll be eating my words. But 9 times out of 10, you will always see one incident at least in the first corner. So starting near the back isn't the be-all and end-all. But it also does good for morale if you can actually just get a clean lap in. And that was such a shame there from Robbie, because he was looking good for a decent lap there and just coming through Porsche curves. And that's where I said you need to get this car set up right, because if you don't get the car set up through Porsche curves, it can punish you. And if you do that in the race, you're going to have a long pit stop to get that car fixed. But let's not forget, it's a 1.5 hour race. So I will bring you that from start to finish tonight. And we will see how these drivers fare in this race. But with only 13 minutes left now, let's see who else we can concentrate on. As we have Mike UA going through with a 3 minutes 58 at the moment. So very good lap there from Mike with a 3:58. And let's see who else is on their way to finish the lap. Kevin Stone's about to finish his 3rd flying lap. He's done a 4:06.8 on the last lap. And he's improved with a 4:05.3, so great lap there from Kevin Stone. So good lap from the Ferrari there. Nice to see that. As we did have another driver crossing the line there, which didn't quite get. Not sure there was much of an improvement. Definitely wasn't the first 2. But Kevin Stone with a 4:05.3, good lap time. And just looking through, so there's a really closely contested midfield battle going on at the moment. So with Kevin Stone, Jazzcast, Chainsaw, both leaving the pit lane now. Moley is definitely going to be improving on. He's done a 4:07, so it is an improvement on his 4:10 that he done at the beginning of the lap, but he will want to improve on that first lap horror show he had. And he is sitting in a comfortable 11th place at the moment. I say comfortable. We have the driver behind him, which is this guy here, Bullseye Burn, in the Ford GTE, which we know is very fast down the straights. He's only 3/10 behind in 12th place, so he needs to watch out for his spot there, as we have Tigger in the pit lane now. And we've just had Pro Fubby go across the line now, another 8/10 quicker, so he's gone a 3-minute 54.0 there. So that's a great lap time. That's a great lap time, and I'm not sure Tigger had an answer to that once, but he's going out on a fresh set of tyres now with only 11 minutes left. And drivers coming across start and finish line. We have one driver coming through Porsche curves. I desperately want to try and find him. Here we go. It is Moley, 1983, the guy who suffered on that first lap, first corner. He's going to make up for that. He needs to get himself into this top 10. I should think he'll want to get himself into this top 10. If anything, he'd love to get himself into the pole position. But at the moment, with a 354.0 from Pro, I don't think that's looking like a doable situation at the moment. As Moley comes across the line trying to improve on his 4 minutes 7.9. Continues on at 4 minutes 7.9. And his last lap there was a 6 minute 31. So again, that was an out lap. So this is now his hot lap. I wonder how many times they'll be doing that through the season. So let's get the timing screens off for now. For some reason, Moley, I've just realised, he is running 87 litres of fuel. So maybe he's testing something out for the race, but he's running 87 litres of fuel, which probably won't help him in the slightest for a fast qualifying lap. So maybe he is testing something out for the race. While we have drivers such as Chainsaw, which is running 38 litres. Tigger at the front running 20 litres of fuel, so probably the optimum amount of fuel. I'm not sure what the fuel usage around here is. I could probably guess it's around about 3.5 litres to 4 litres per lap. Quite a lot. I should think it drinks quite a lot around here, obviously, with the amount of full throttle you're at constant periods. Hammy Mansell here in 4th place. Great job by Hammy in that Aston Martin. Only 3 seconds off pole position here. Only less than 10 minutes left, so this is going to be crunch time now for these top... I was going to say top 10, but everyone actually, as we still haven't had... excuse me. We still haven't had 15th place Robbie put in a lap yet, so he'll be wanting to put in a lap for sure. And Hammy Mansell on a 357.2. Here we go, Kevin Stone once again coming through. He's on a 405.3, so good lap time. Is he going to improve on a 405.3? Yes, great lap time. 3 seconds improvement, so he's done a 402.4. That's fantastic. So can he break the sub 4 minute barrier here? Kevin Stone doing a great job in that Ferrari there. So 7th place, so he's over halfway through the field there. So, but that is a danger zone to start the race in, but who knows? That's just my opinion on the matter, but that's Kevin Stone. Great job there from Kevin. And Welsh just comes through 4 minute 3.2 from Welsh Dan. We'll call him Dan for the benefit of the live stream. So we have a look. Tigger is on his out lap. We will look at Tigger in a minute when he's on his hot lap. With only 8 minutes remaining, we'll need to see some form of battle for the bottom 3 as we have Jaskas going off. He's going to wreck that car. There's no point in reversing that. You've got to get that in the pits, get that sorted, get straight back out there because you're going to have mega aero damage there. As we looks like we've got Moley coming. No, not Moley. We have another. There we go, Jackson. Apologies for that. I'm still trying to get used to everyone's name here and everyone's car livery. Jackson goes across the line with the 4 minutes 15 there, so he'll now want to, as Bullseye's just left the session, maybe had a connection issue as Jackson just goes off for the first corner. That won't be good. that will not be good for his chances of improving his lap time. And Tigger goes across the line, so Tigger now starting his lap, so we'll catch up with Tigger towards the end of his lap, see how we're doing. And in fact, I tell you what we'll do, instead of catching up with Tigger, let's just stay on board and see what he does through these sections of the track here. Very fast through there, carrying plenty of speed onto the straight here. Carrying now 15 litres of fuel, so yeah, he's used about 4 to 4.5 litres of fuel here. This Porsche is looking rather fast down the straight. We've seen 179 from this Ford GT at the moment, but now the Porsche is topping out at 180, 181 miles an hour down the straight. So now we are seeing the Porsche mighty fast down the straights here, so this may be where this Porsche is finding its speed and all its lap time, as it's now been proven to myself. But that is one of the fastest cars I've seen on track so far. This Aston Martin, which I thought would be extremely fast, is lacking a little bit of top speed here. But the one that's lacking the most is he goes a little bit deep into the brakes there, but he managed to save it with only 5 minutes remaining here. And Brood, great lap time there from Brood. I must have missed that somewhere along the line, so apologies for missing that lap, but 3:55.9 there from Brood, and only 1.8 seconds behind, so he's now in third place, sitting in the pits. Maybe that's Brood done. Is he going to leave for one more lap? We will soon find out. But he's got 5 minutes left. If he wants to put in one more lap just to solidify that third place, he might want to come out again, because we've got Hammy Mansell looking rather threatening in that Aston Martin, doing a fantastic job with only 3 seconds off the pole position. And Waldo there in that Ford GT. It's a cracking lap time there by Waldo with a 3:57. In fact, the top 6 are all sub 4 minute lap times at the moment. So Waldo coming round. I'm not going to get too excited because I'm not sure if he's on his out lap. I don't want to make that mistake again. But we will soon find out. I should think the way he's driving, I'd be surprised if this is his out lap. He's really driving this hard at the moment. So we will keep an eye on this timing screen and see what Waldo can do. He's in 5th place at the moment. He's done a 3:57.3. Yes, this is his fast lap. (7:10). This is not his fast lap. So this is now the start of Waldo's lap. So we have now 4 minutes remaining. We have Pro Fabi out once again, trying to make sure he can keep that pole position away from Tigger at the moment. It does seem like Tigger's the only man that can really challenge him. Brood is not going out again, so maybe he's done all he can. He's definitely not going out again, so Brood won't be challenging for pole position this time round. And someone else crossed the line, but that was an out lap, so we haven't really had any improvements from anybody yet at the moment. We are down to 14 drivers, so I'm not sure whether... I think we lost, I can't remember who we lost, but we lost one driver here in qualifying. Whether it's connection issue or not, I'm not quite sure. There's Jackson there, he's on a 4:15, and he's going to have to try and improve on that lap time, but he may be playing the long game. He may think, well, this is where I want to be starting. Again, starting near the back can be a blessing in disguise. It really can with these sorts of races. It's a long hour-and-a-half races, so plenty of time for mistakes, and you've got to make sure you fill that car up right, because no amount of times I've seen races like this where people just run out of fuel at the end of the race. As Modi comes through the final sector now into the final chicanes in 13th place with a 4:07.9. He can put in one more lap after this, so whatever this lap is, he can definitely go out there and put in another one. So come on, Molly, 4:07.9, 4:07.8, so 1/10 faster, so he really is on the limit of of what he can do, I think, because it's a 4 minute 7.8. Unless there was a little mistake in there, he could probably make another second or 2 seconds up, probably get him up to 11th place. And we'll check back these two. I think they're in the same cars. Yeah, for some reason these two are in exactly the same cars with the same livery, so that's going to get a bit confusing. Maybe one of them's in the wrong livery or something, but that is going to get quite confusing. So Chainsaw is on a 406.2 in that Corvette. Who else we got? Let me just go up the field here. Someone coming around. Apologies for the quick camera changes here. I'm just trying to find that driver. Who is that? Is Jackson? So we'll just stay with Jackson. He's coming around. So he will be the first driver to cross the line with 1 minute 15 remaining. Wow, and I do apologise. I have missed a 3 minute 53 by Tigger there, so I apologise for that. That is a 3 minute 53.8 for Tigger, so Pro Fubby, there's no reason why. I was wondering why Pro went out again, but he has gone out for a very good reason, and that's because he has seen that Tigger has gone faster. So let's look at Pro Fubby now. I think he's given up on his lap. He must have made a mistake, unless he's going for one more lap. He's got 30 seconds left, so everybody else is in the pit lane now. So again, I do apologise for missing Tigger's lap, but he has done a 3 minute 53.812. So Tigger has got 25 seconds. He's going for his final lap now. We will stay with Pro Fubby for the rest of this lap, because I believe that he will be the one to challenge for the pole position here. He can't mess this up. The worst thing to do is to mess your lap up on the first corner of this humongous lap. So he will be the only man to try and challenge for this pole position. Only 2/10 down at the moment. Qualifying now is over, so the pressure is definitely on Pro to get the extra 2 points at the moment. Tigger has got the 2 points in his back pocket. And Robbie is on track with a 402.6 at the moment in 8th place. So we'll just keep an eye on the timing screen on the left-hand side there just to see what he can do. But I won't switch away from Pro Fubby at the moment, because this is where the action's going to be, if there is any, for pole position. Everything's looking rather under control at the moment, so nothing untoward that I've seen at the moment. I'm looking at closely, trying to find something I can pick at, but there's nothing really I can see. He's so smooth, hitting every apex that he can hit. The car looks so balanced. There's no understeer, no oversteer. There's nothing really I can pick out and say that needs improving, because it looks like he's got this thing set up. We do know that he does a lot of GT3 racing, Pro Fubby, as much as I know. So I know he's quite used to how these cars are, how they're set up and everything. So the GTE, I can't see being too much different apart from just a bit more speed. So really hard braking zone, so easy to lock up and get it wrong into there, but so smooth at the moment. I'm seeing no split times at the moment on the top of my screen, so I apologise for not bringing any split times, but I can only see what you can see, so I can't even bring you sector times, because it's a bit temperamental on Project Alpha 2. You don't really get too many split times, so we'll just have to go by sight. And only 0.25 seconds away, so that was a hell of a lap there from Tigger. So this is a great lap. I actually haven't seen anything untoward here, anything that's gone wrong here. We still have Robbie on track, and 12th place man's just pitted, and we have the guy in 14th place at the back there just trying to get a better lap time. So we have 3 drivers on track, everybody else in the pit lane. 14 drivers for this race, it seems. Seems like we've lost a couple of drivers, which is a shame, but no issues. We've got Pro Fubby through Porsche curves now. Exactly where the car needs to be. He's got a little bit twitchy there on the rear. He's pushing so hard. Coming through the final part of the Porsche curves, coming through into the last 2 chicanes now. Got to get your braking right. Don't take too much curb because you'll end up spinning it out, but take enough curb that you're going to... As Rob crosses the line, Rob goes up to 7th place with a 3:59.9 from Rob. That's a great lap, but we're going to see Pro Fubby. He's going to come across the line with under a sub 3-minute 54. No! Tick has it with a 3-minute 53.8. Pro Fubby, unfortunately, couldn't quite match it. He done a 3-minute 54.3. That's a good lap time from Pro Fubby, but didn't quite get it in the end. So Tigger is on pole position with Pro Fubby in 2nd. Dat Waldo in 3rd with Mike in 4th place. Brood in 5th place. And Hammy Mansell in 6th. Robbie Keels in 7th. Kevin Stone in 8th place. Good showing from Kevin Stone there, improving every single lap he was out there. Chainsaw in 9th. Dan in 10th. And King Buck in 11th with Jaskas in 12th. Moley in 13th. And Jackson in 14th place. And that was certainly a great session there right at the end. We do still have 1 driver on track. I'm not sure, is that... Oh, he's on his end lap. So the session has definitely finished. There can be no more improvement, but Rob did finish 7th, so he improved massively there actually on his final lap time with a 3:59, so managed to get to the sub 4-minute lap times. And we have the top 7 in a sub 4 minutes, so this is going to be interesting. But a 3-minute 53.8 from Tigger, so 2 points already to the Tigger. And Pro Fubby will definitely be looking at getting that back and trying to get the win. But that Waldo, watch out, he's only 1.3 behind in qualifying. Can his race pace be a bit quicker than these two? And the 2 Porsches on front row there with the Ford GT in 3rd, Corvette in 4th, another Ford GT there in 5th, and the Aston Martin there in 6th. This is race start, and everyone will need to ready up to get this underway. We have these 2 drivers in front with their identical cars. We have the 2 just behind. Brood in 5th place there with Hammy Mansell 6th, Robbie 7th, and the first Ferrari of Kevin Stone in 8th place, Corvette 9th, Welsh Dan 10th, King Buck 11th, Jaskas in 12th, and the 2 Aston Martins of Moley and Jackson in 13th and 14th. But Tigger will be the one to try and get the inside line. He has the inside line for the first part of the lap, so he will definitely be looking to take that and lead down the first straight there. So we're just waiting for these drivers to ready up, and we'll get this race underway for 1.5 hours. Let's not forget we have a day race turning into a night race. We also have this day race turning to a night race, but also in the dry, which goes to wet weather. We have thunderstorms, so it's all going to be kicking off and I'm certainly excited for this, to see exactly how this is going to pan out, because I've seen no testing, I've seen nothing. I don't know how this is going to pan out, how the track goes as they set up off on their rolling lap now. Here we go. Drivers come round the final turn here. And we're green lights, and Tigger's underway, but he has got a sloppy start. So Pro Fubby has got underway and just got in front of him into turn 1, so that's not going to be good for Tigger. But behind him is very spread out already. These 2 have just gone back and taken the pack by storm here. We've got Mike UA defending already on the inside. Hammy Mansell, we've got someone off. We've got a BMW going wide. We've got an M6 going wide there, but he's managed to regain. That was Dan going slightly wide there. But at the moment we have Pro Fubby leading the way, so he has got the excellent start. He's got the start that he wanted, but Tigger with his pace, he will not let him go. And these two need to work together to push on that for this hour and a half of endurance. With Brood looking down the inside already of this Corvette, and the Corvette's just dropped back slightly there. Robbie, he's getting mugged off on the straights here because there's another Mike is losing a lot of places there. Sorry, he's trying to use these names, but Robbie has just gone straight past him around the outside, so maybe he just got a bad exit on that Corvette, but he's coming back. He's got the slipstream on there. He's coming down the inside. Robbie down the inside, and Hammy Mansell also just in front, but these two still battling it out. But it doesn't look like Mike's taken that position off Robbie there, so a little bit of a mistake there from Mike. Seems to have paid off Robbie there, but Tigger in second place still. And look at these two, they've pulled a gap already of 2.7 seconds from behind, so really looking fast already. And these two definitely looking to make an impact, but Pro Fubby's just pulled out a little bit of a gap here. It's about a second, 9/10 of a second, so I don't know if that's still in the slipstream range. I should think it is on these long straights, but further down the field we've got some good battles going on here, and Robbie looking to make a move, and so down the inside of that green Ford GT, that was Hammy Mansell. So Hammy Mansell's gone down the inside, and he's already looking to make a move on Waldo here, so really looking right, extremely fast actually, and that car is just breezed around the outside of him. So Hammy Mansell up to third place, breezing around the outside of that Ford GT, but he's got a bit of a slipstream. And we got that Waldo. Is he going to look down the inside? He just didn't quite make it, but that's probably a wise decision there, as you do not want to end up in tears so early on. That's Kevin Stone in the Ferrari fending off King Buck in that Porsche going through Indianapolis there. So, and we got someone off. We've got Jackson 8 off. That's such a shame. Is he got aero damage there? I don't think he's got much damage there, but he's going to reverse it straight into the barriers. So that's such a shame. So on lap 1 with an hour and 26 left, Jackson's put it into the barriers to see how strong they are, and it does seem like his car looks okay. So plenty of time left in this race to recover from that. So not a problem. We have had someone drop out. We've only got 13 cars left, so apologies if I missed any one of that, but decent battle here, and we have a good battle up front for third and fourth. There's only 0.2 of a second separating those two, as Hammy Mansell defending. And I apologise, it's Tigger. Tigger's made a mistake somewhere. He's 5 seconds, he's dropped off. He's 5 seconds. He must have made a mistake through PCARS. His car's looking a little bit beaten up on the right-hand side there, and it looks like he's now, yeah, he's suffering with a bit of air damage. But Hammy Mansell nearly took advantage here, nearly got himself up into second place. And we need to see what happened to Tigger there. That's such a shame. Something happened where he's now lost so much time, and Pro Fubby has just pulled away. That is the gap, and that is what he needed to see. But Mansell is now really on his tail, because it looks like Tigger's got a little bit of damage there, as we have Waldo and Brood battling it out as well for 4th and 5th place. And, looking further down the field, we have a pit stop. Yeah, Jackson's having to make pit stops, so he's coming in the pits. He's going to be making some changes. Maybe gets that aero fix that he's done. As we have Hammy Mansell coming down the inside to take second place. He's gone breezing around the outside, so we clearly have Tigger. He's got a bit of damage here. He's suffering a bit of top speed, because that is unlike that Porsche. As Tigger goes back down the inside, he's gone over the curbs. That's not going to work. That's such a shame for Tigger there, because this is not what he needed at all, because he was definitely one of the two to be looking to win this race. So he's going to have to come in and try and fix that damage. But we've got plenty of time as we have a decent battle here with Dat Waldo and Brood for 4th and 5th place. Come on, let's sort this out, cameraman, let's go. Brood coming down the inside, Ford GT against Ford GT. We have Dat Waldo down the outside in the black car. We have Brood in the green car on the inside. He's going to take the inside line, but we're going to have... Oh, I thought he was just going to get that. As Dat Waldo, I thought he had the inside line for the next corner there, but good bit of racing there, good clean racing. Decent space given there from everyone. And Waldo is now down in 5th place, but he has got the slipstream now, so huge slipstreams play a part obviously here at Le Mans. So as soon as you break that slipstream from someone, though, you are going to struggle. But we've got a good battle here from Kevin Stone in the Ferrari and Robbie. It's a three-way battle here. We've got the Porsche, the Ford GT and the Ferrari. This is the fight for 7th, 8th and 9th place. We know that Ferrari's a little bit sluggish down the straights. These two, the GT and the Porsche, would definitely be creeping up on him, as that Porsche's got double slipstream coming into Indianapolis now. So easy to lose it through here. The Porsche goes down the inside, not quite the move he wants. His Chainsaw's just sitting there nicely, having a quick peek, see what's going on, see if he can counteract on these lot. If these make a mistake, Chainsaw's going to be right there in his Corvette to take advantage of this lot. We'll just stay with this battle because this is the closest battle on track at the moment. Kevin Stone and that Ferrari just pulling away while Robbie and King Buck have a little bit of a battle here. So this is a perfect opportunity for Kevin to pull away from these, and only 10 minutes gone. Spread out just a little bit more now. I have no idea when the weather changes or when the light changes as well, so it'll be... I keep looking at the skies to see the clouds and when they're coming in, because I'm quite excited for that part. And I've heard that wet weather on this game is rather tricky, so that will certainly be exciting. Kevin's looking rather handy in that Ferrari at the moment, looks really planted. But Robbie's looking a bit threatening there, and that GT, he's going to look at me getting in that slipstream down this main straight here, trying to slingshot into the first chicane. Needs to get through here, get a decent exit following that slipstream. He is only half second back, so he will have a decent amount of slipstream now. So another... We have... I thought that was a bit close up. It's okay. So Robbie, in fact, we have King Buck. He's about to go to move for 8th place on Robbie because he has got double slipstream here, so he'll be... And there's a slow car there. What's going on? There's a slow green car. We'll have a look at that. As he's just pulled out, it looks like he just missed his braking zone, but it's worked out for him because he's managed to outbrake Robbie there. It looked like he just missed his braking point, and he's gone... He's pulled out rather aggressively, but he's made the move, and that was a great move. Good on the brakes there, but it looks like someone's struggled with a bit of... Oh, no. We've got a massive spinner there, Chainsaw, and is... I'm trying to figure out who the green car is. That's Brood. So we've had a big incident there. It looks like Brood's trying to keep off the racing line, but it just looked to me as though someone's been caught up, as we've got a King Buck. We've got a slow King Buck there, so we've had an incident there with King Buck. As I was paying attention to the guys behind of what happened, King Buck's had a bit of a spin. As Chainsaw looked like he went into the wall there. And very wide Robbie there, coming into just after Indianapolis there. It's a very wide Robbie. And yeah, some incidents there. Looked like we had quite a slow... Yeah, we had a slow brood which caused the incident, I think, as we got too wide now. Datwaldo in 6th place. Robbie in 6th. Datwaldo in 7th. Kevin in 5th. Through Indianapolis now. I love this corner. So tricky, so hard, so easy to lose it. And just behind we got Datwaldo. He's got massive damage there. He's just smashed straight into the wall in the background there. And what is going on there? We had some incident going on where he's lost half of his bumper, so he's going to have huge amounts of damage now. Look at that. He's got no front aero at all. And I'll be surprised if his lights work as well now, so that'll be interesting for later on for sure. As Kevin Stone is just keeping his nose clean. Robbie just behind. Datwaldo's definitely suffering with some form of... He's got massive amounts of understeer at the moment. As I keep switching to this battle, but this is the closest one on track at the moment. As very wide going there, Robbie. As it starts to rain. Is that me or is that rain? I think it's starting to rain. Here we go. Yes, that is definitely rain. That is definitely rain. Let's just go on board with one of these drivers just to double check. We've got a bit of rain going on here. And I can certainly hear it. I know you can't see it, but it's definitely there. Yep, you can see it on the screen. So we have rain, ladies and gentlemen. Who will be the first person to put the wet tyres on? As we have Datwaldo in the pit lane now. Now, that probably couldn't have happened at a worse time, because now he's going to put slick tyres back on, but he'll have to come in the pits within the next lap or two again, because he's going to have to put these wet tyres on. So unfortunately, that incident he had seems like it's going to really hinder him double time, because he's going to have to come in a pit lane again to change the wet tyres. And Pro Fubby, as I caught him, he's just gone straight off into the wall. And what a time to switch to the leader, but he has absolutely wrecked his car as we've got Hammy Mansell coming through, and he's going to take the lead now. So Hammy Mansell, what a change of events. I switched that just at the right second there, and this rain is catching people out, but of all the people, it has caught the race leader out, Pro Fubby. That is such a shame. Now Hammy Mansell has taken the lead. And the top two in these Porsches have struggled today, and it seems like we've got Tigger with aero damage. We've now got Pro Fubby with a massive amount of aero damage, because that was a huge hit. And now Hammy Mansell, who's kept his nose clean and gone through the carnage at the front, and now he's leading the race by 3 seconds, and he'll only continue to pull out that gap. And it's now 4 seconds. So he's definitely going to be really smiling from ear to ear with that one, because that was a gift and a half. And that was probably, it just looked like he... well, I don't know what it looked like, to be honest. Possibly just hit the curbs too hard. But this rain's definitely caught people out here. As Mike in 4th is just minding his own business, getting on with it. As these two are still going at it. Kevin Stone and Robbie Kills in 5th and 6th place here. Side by side. Be careful, lads. It's raining, let's not forget, because you've got to come in and put some intermediate or wet tyres on in a minute. So... as we have drivers coming to the pit lane now, we have Brood in the pit lane. He's just... I'm not quite sure what tyres he's put on. That would be a nice one. We've got some refueling going on there with Jaskas. So, great battle. And Tigger has now caught up to the back of Pro Fubby. So these two, once again, going at it hammer and tongs. But it does look like out of the two now, looks like Pro has got a bit of issues, so yeah, he's not even going to fight that position. His car is a mess at the moment, so it's going to be a long old pit stop for Pro Fubby. And Tigger is now on his way in 2nd place, but Hammy Mansell, look at this, he's nearly 9 seconds in the lead. And he needs to just keep that on the black stuff, get in the pit lane, chuck some wet tyres on, and he will be able to pull out even more. So this wet weather has just caught people out and really thrown a curveball. And in fact, Hammy Mansell needs to pit now, but he needs to pit now, because if he pits now and gets these tyres on, it'll play into his hands more, because it's only to get heavier this rain. So yes, he's pitting now, so he needs to get that pit entry nice and easy and take it nice and steady. Everyone's going to be coming to the pits now, so we'll be just keeping an eye on this pit lane as we have Hammy Mansell in the pits, Tigger in the pits, Profubby, everyone will be coming in the pits as Tigger just cuts across that start of the pit exit there, just probably because it's still so greasy. Clouds coming in. Robbie, so it'll be interesting to see who's pitted behind, like these guys, Brood, because they've already got the wet tyres on, I should think. And it'd be interesting to see if they can jump a few people in the pit lane now, as Hammy Mansell's taking some fuel on board. And who's that going past? That's Profubby. He's getting some new tyres on. Is he? Doesn't look like anything's happened. Doesn't look like they're doing anything to his car. Maybe that's just the way it looks. Let's see what's going on with Hammy's car, as these pit stops are looking rather static at the moment, so let's hope. Yeah, I think it's probably just my broadcast that doesn't show the tyre changing, but let's just hope he's got a decent pair of tyres, decent set of tyres in them. But we have Tigger out already, so let's hope he's got the correct tyres on and the right amount of fuel on board that he wanted. He's running 69 litres of fuel on board, so he is back out in the lead, 14 seconds in the lead. So I've got a feeling something's wrong here, because he's just gone straight off. Has he got slick tyres on still? Did the pit crew change his tyres? This is the thing. He's flashing his lights in frustration, but it's now getting quite dark as well. This is now really testing for the drivers, as cones are flying everywhere, cars are spinning everywhere. We've got Mike, who's now up to 3rd place, Chainsaw into 4th place. So these drivers are... I don't think Tigger's got the wet tyres on. He's now going to have to go around a whole lap. It seems like there's been an issue where the tyres weren't changed or something. I'm not entirely sure, but he's going to have to do a whole lap now on what he's got on the car, as Hammy Mansell is now going to pull out a seriously healthy lead, with Mike in 3rd, who's no doubt going to take 2nd place away from Tigger, and Chainsaw 4th, with Robbie just behind him in the Ford GTE against that Corvette. That Corvette don't stand a chance with that Ford GTE, as Robbie Chainsaw had to brake a little bit there to let him pass. It does seem like a few of these drivers are on the wrong tyres here. Kevin Stone's in 6th place. So after all these pit stops, and Profubby down to 8th place, the big loser out of all this. But we'll be interested to see if he can come back through the pack and see if he can make his way back up into that top 3. So this race really throwing up some curveballs at the moment, and the track looking extremely wet now. The spray coming up on the back of Moley's car there in 11th place, and Tigger already down to 3rd place. So yeah, he's dropping so much time, but Moley seems comfortable at the moment. He's not coming into the pit, so he's got the tyres he wants, and he's got the fuel he wants. So it seems like everything's okay, as we have Jaskas behind, pitting in the Ferrari, as well as Jackson pitting also in that Aston. So, with 1 hour and 10 left, only 20 minutes gone of this race, and we've had a lot to talk about and a lot to see at the moment. It seems like this weather's really hit them hard, because Tigger's car's a mess at the moment. It'll be interesting. I should think he will pit again. I'll be really shocked if he doesn't pit, and his lights are not working either, unless he's just not got them switched on. I don't think he's got them switched on, actually. Robbie doing a great job, minding his own business, car in 1 bit, 4th place. He'll be taken away 3rd from Tigger when Tigger comes in the pit, so So Tigger now coming through Porsche curves. He's now got his lights on, so he's only got the one light working on the left-hand side, so that could cause some issues for him later on in the race as he's going off with more damage. This is turning out to be a... There's no words that can describe this for Tigger, because this is turning out to be a nightmare race for him. An absolute nightmare race for him. Not what he'd planned at all. And I should think he'll be coming straight in the pit lane now. I have no idea if the wet tyres have gone on or not, but it does seem like he's struggled with these this wet setup at the moment. Yeah, he's coming straight back in the pits again. As Hammy Mansell is just ploughing along with a 10-second lead now to Mike in that Corvette in second place. Robbie Kills just comes across the line now in third place. So we have 3 different car manufacturers in the top 3. Tigger now in the pit lane. And they are now changing tyres. Yeah, they're now changing the tyres. So I'm guessing, I hazard a guess that the tyres were not changed for the first pit stop, which is a real shame because that's cost him so much time. They're not refueling anymore, so it is just the tyres, and I think they're fixing a bit of damage there which has been caused. So looks like we've got Chainsaw in the pit lane as well. As Tigger just leaves the pits. They've fixed his lights. They've put a new light bulb in there as well, which is good. Chainsaw changing the front 2 tyres. In fact, I can see actual wet tyres going on Chainsaw, but with Tigger's pit stop I didn't see wet treaded tyres go on. I could be wrong, but I got a feeling they put slicks on again. We'll soon see in first corner. Unless they were wet tyres, I just didn't see the tread on it. Either way, let's hope he has those wet tyres on now, because it's getting dark and the rain is still falling. Yeah, it does look like his car's much better now, so Tigger now needs to crack on, try and get some time back. He's 1 minute and 20 seconds behind the lead of the race. And, further down the field we have Moley, Jackson 12th, and Jess Cass in the Ferrari in 13th. Really tough conditions these are. Something I wouldn't like to do myself, as I see Moley has just taken a trip across the grass there after a little spin. I wouldn't like to do these conditions myself. These ultimately probably the hardest conditions you can race in. So here we go, this is really nighttime setting in now. I do love the look of this nighttime race, especially with the rain as well. Everything glistening. It's good for me, good for the viewers, not for the drivers. And this is the closest battle we have on track at the moment. So we have Pro Fubby catching Kevin Stone up. And Pro Fubby's last lap was a 6:02, so there's some time to be made up there. Yeah, catching quite handsomely now actually, so we'll just stick with this battle here because Kevin's going to have a lot of Porsche in his mirrors very soon now, so that Porsche is extremely quick against that Ferrari coming into Indianapolis, and already there was a 1.5 second gap and he's pulled it already. He's not going to go around the outside here. He's going to have to wait unless he's going to force Kevin into a mistake, which he has. He's gone a little bit wide, but Pro Fubby behind has just put a wheel on the curb there, so he's just lost a bit of time, but I can only see him. He'll probably get him. He's nearly at the back of him. That Ferrari just took him by surprise a little bit there, and Pro Fubby nearly wipes the back of him out, so he's going to get him down this straight now because he's swerving across the track there and maybe just letting him through. Yeah, I think he was it looked like he was going to try and wipe him out then. I'm glad he didn't. It was just moving over to let him through. Maybe he realised it was a battle he just wouldn't be able to defend, so he lets Pro Fubby through by the looks of things. And no real issues there for Pro Fabi. So on he goes, and he goes to hunt down that Waldo now. But he's got 5 seconds to find, and in fact, he's going extremely slow at the moment. Maybe he made a little bit of a mistake. Yeah, because he's caught him up already, so he was quite a few more seconds than that down from him, so he's already caught him up quite a bit. So I'm keeping an eye on the times now. So Tigger's 1 minute 20, so he's already caught 2 seconds off the leader, Tigger. So as we have someone in the pits, that is Waldo in the pit lane once again. So these drivers pitting rather frequently at the moment. He's got enough fuel on board, so I can imagine it can only be for tyres or for damage. Do they put the tyres on? Yeah, nope, they just looks like they're putting more fuel on board. So maybe... No, they put the fuel in first. Yeah, wet tyres going on. So in fact, it did look like he didn't have the wet tyres on itself. Or possibly he's just wrecked his wet tyres from before. But either way, he's come in, put some more fuel in. He's now got 88 litres on board with some wet tyres. Now, could that 88 litres go to the end? We'll see. I'm not overly sure how much they use. I think, as I said, 4 litres a lap. So possibly touch and go to get him to the end. I should think that might just get him to the end, actually. So he's looking to keep going now and probably only pit for tyres, as Hammy Mansell pulling out a 13-second lead now. Great, let's have a look at these lap times they're doing in these conditions. So we're doing 4-minute 19s from Hammy Mansell, and just behind Mike, 5 seconds slower, or 4.5 seconds slower with a 4:24. Robbie with the exact same lap time, 4:24. Pro Fabi 4:29, that was getting through traffic. Kevin Stone with a 4:55. And Tigger on his out lap with a 5:43, who hasn't quite set a lap. So the 4-minute 20s are looking quite a fast lap time at the moment in these particular conditions. Let's see where the battles are on track. Everyone's pretty spread out at the moment. It's King Buck with that one lighted Porsche. Moley takes a spin there, so Jackson was right behind him for position. Moley's just lost a position to Jackson now, so, and lost a position to Jaskas as well. That's such a shame, and I believe he's just been lapped by Hammy Mansell. So yep, that was our first driver lapped. So unfortunately for Moley, he's had a little bit of a spin and really struggling to keep it on the black stuff for these tricky conditions. And bumper hanging off, swinging about all over the place. Unfortunately, he's going to have to come in and get that fixed, because that car's falling to bits at the moment. You'll probably see him dive into the pit lane now and try and get all that fixed up. Yeah, really, really struggling. Can't get the car turned in at the moment, so he'll be pitting. Maybe not. He'll continue to go around. So Moley, benefit of the doubt, he's going to keep going around, but I believe we have second place just behind him now. Yeah, we've got Mike coming up behind, so Mike will definitely want to dispatch the back marker pretty quickly. Moley's really struggling to keep that car on the track at the moment, so yeah, he's flashing his lights just to move out of the way. Well done. And on he goes, continues in second place. So the battle's on track at the moment. We've got the closest battle is here. Tigger and Dat Waldo. So let's have a look at the lap times between these two at the moment. So 4:41 to a 5:43. So at the moment it looks as though Tigger is actually losing quite a bit of time. Yeah, Tigger's losing time, so I think he may have had another off somewhere, because he's lost rather a bit. And oh, nearly loses it again. He's just behind Kingbuck, and Dat Waldo is also close behind. So, but this is the battle here for 6th place, and Tigger will definitely be looking to try and make a position here, because he's had an awful race so far, as Kingbuck takes a very narrow line here as he tries to defend. But is he just going to let him past? Maybe. No, he's not going to let him past, but Tigger just drives past like he's just let him past, because Kingbuck looks like he's really suffering with quite a lot of front and rear end damage there. So Tigger up to 6th place there, and setting his sights now on Kevin in 5th. Definitely something he can achieve, because Kevin's right there, and he'll be definitely worried, because Pro Fubby just breezed past Kevin. I think Kevin let him past. I can't remember. I think Kevin let him past, actually. Yes, he did. And now will Tigger get the same privileges from him, because he's only 4 seconds behind now, and Tigger needs to make up some positions if he wants to get some decent points on the board at the end of this round. With less than 1 hour to go now, they'll definitely be thinking about the end strategy, because the rain will only get a bit heavier. I do believe there's 2 more weather slots to come yet, and I don't see it getting any better than this at the moment. As that Waldo's moved up to 7th, so he follows Tigger through, and he's up to 7th place now. So from the leaders doing 4:25. So Hammy Mansell's doing 4:25s to Mike 4:28. Robbie 4:45s, and Pro Fubby 4:36. So yeah, Hammy Mansell really has found his groove in these conditions at the moment, and pulling away nicely. Really, I mean, like 5-6 seconds a lap. As up front we have Tigger making a move down the inside of Kevin. Nothing he can do about that Porsche down the straight line there. He just has to concede, as we have that Waldo's just gone straight on, and he's having to take the escape route there, lifting off the throttle, making sure not to gain too much time. So that's good respect there from Waldo, but he's just gone straight on, missed his braking point, and went nearly hit those barriers, so he had to weave in and out of those tyres there. So very close, very close to completely wrecking his car there. But as we saw, Tigger go down the inside of Kevin, so Kevin now dropped down at 6th place. Dat Waldo lucky to get away with that one, and that would have been a scary moment for him. These conditions are really proving tricky for these drivers, so interesting to see now if Tigger can catch Pro Fubby, because they are both on their own. Tigger's 23 odd seconds behind Pro Fubby, as Pro Fubby is still struggling with the rear end of his car getting around those corners, and just in front of, I say just in front of Pro, 30 seconds up the row is Robbie. So good battle. I was about to say there's a good battle going on here, but the times are a bit messed up at the moment. So further back we have Moley still cracking on. And what sort of lap times are we getting out of this for Moley? So Moley's best laps are 4:28, and he's just coming across the line now with a 5:29. So it seems like he's really struggling to adjust to these conditions at the moment, but full respect, carrying on. and a massive learning curve for all these drivers in these conditions here. And you can actually see the penalties that are given out on the right hand side. That could be either contact or through corner cutting or going straight on at chicanes, things like that. And we have a few penalties there on the right hand side. So Moley has a 10-second penalty, Chainsaw has a 10-second penalty, Brood also with a 10-second penalty, and Tigger, wow, Tigger also has a 10-second penalty. So it's really gone from bad to worse to devastating for Tigger for this race, because not only has he spun out multiple times out of the lead, he's also got a penalty. But it did look like there was a bit of a pit stop glitch there where he didn't get the tyres, so partly not down to his fault at all for that one. But I think we had a change of position there. Was that a change of position? Yep. I think we have a decent battle going on here now. So Kevin Stone, once again, these two going at it. Brood, Kevin Stone and King Buck, very close together. This is the battle on the track at the moment. Kevin Stone's going very slowly. He's got no lights. That's probably why he's going quite slow, because it's going to be really difficult for him to see anything in front of him, and he's probably relying on other drivers' cars to light the way, unless he hasn't assigned a button to turn his lights on, which could be quite possible actually, because that car's a mess. That car's got so much damage at the moment. But I don't think... Let's just ride on board with Kevin, because I have a feeling... Yeah, he's not got his windscreen wipers going either, so maybe he hasn't got any buttons assigned for these, as he just... Yeah, Brood just breezes past him, so I think that's really hindering him at the moment. So in this weather, it's very difficult to see anything if you don't have your lights and your windscreen wipers on. So as Brood goes straight across the chicane there, he's going to have to lift off slightly there. But yeah, that's not good for Kevin at all. So his lights could possibly have been smashed out, but his rear lights are not on either. So I think I'm probably going to put it down to he's not got a button assigned, so he can't switch his lights on. Anyway, back to the front, where Hammy Mansell is now 20 seconds in the lead of Mike, who is caught behind a back marker at the moment, which I believe is Jaskas. Yeah. So Mike goes past. So let's see what fuel we're running now. So at the front, Hammy Mansell's running 53 litres with 50 minutes to go. Second place is running 59 litres. Robbie's running 47 litres, goes very wide there through Porsche curves, so he might have to refuel a bit more to try and get some more fuel on board there. And Pro Fubby is running 49 litres as he goes around the outside of the back marker there, I believe is Moley. Tigger's running 40 litres, so he's got... I don't think that'll get him to the end. He might have to pit again. 40 litres doesn't seem like enough fuel. But we'll soon see, so we'll keep an eye on that. 72 litres, so he'll definitely be going to the end with that amount of fuel. That's plenty. 42 litres there from Brood. So everyone's running between 40 and 50 litres at the moment. 65 litres there for King Buck. As it goes wide, nearly collects it into the barrier there. So King Buck with a one-lighted Porsche is struggling to keep this thing on the trail. I think everyone is really. Everyone's really struggling. These conditions are not playing favours to anyone, apart from Hammy Mansell, who's just running away with this, and Mike at the front. It seems like everybody else is really struggling. And let's see if we've got pits. We've got Pro Fubby back in the pits. So Pro Fubby's now back in the pits. So I wonder why this is. Is this for tyres? It can't be for fuel because it seems like he has enough fuel on board. So could this just be for damage? Could it be for tyres? Let's see. He's coming to pits really slow. What's going on? Something is happening. Yeah, something's gone wrong here. So he's just gone straight through the pits and his pit crew weren't even there to receive him. So massive issues there for Pro Fubby. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but it just seemed like he was cruising into the pits about 20 mile an hour and the pit crew was there, but it just drove straight through them. So he might be coming back in the pits again to try another pit stop. I do know with this game there are some pit stop issues at the moment, so I'm not quite sure if there'll ever be a fix for that. Anyway, so Tigger's now up to 4th place. So Tigger up to 4th place with only 38 litres on board. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but I've got a feeling he's going to have to make a splash and dash towards the end to try and... yeah, he's going to run out of fuel otherwise. I can almost guarantee it. 37 litres won't be enough for a 47-minute race, which is what we've got remaining now. Chainsaw in a very lonely 10th place at the moment. So we'll just keep an eye on Pro Fubby and see if he comes back into the pit lane again. I've got a feeling he might come into the pits again, but yeah, he's going very wide. It seems like his tyres have cried enough at the moment, so he probably came in to switch for some new tyres and there was just no one there to give him any tyres, so desperately disappointing there from the top 2 drivers that qualified here, first and second, Tigger and Pro Fubby. Nothing's gone to plan, so the only positive for Tigger in 4th place is that he has the 2 points for the pole position for qualifying. Other than that, there's not many positives to come away from this race, as Brood is definitely catching Pro Fubby at the moment. The last lap, Robbie put in the fastest lap on the last lap, so Robbie in 3rd place is the fastest man on track at the moment, and the last lap with a 4:33, so he's definitely making an impact and catching Mike at the moment, but Mike is keeping that 20-second gap at 20 seconds. There's no inroads to first place at the moment, so keeping it at 20 miles now. We've got a spinner at the back. We've got a couple of spinners at the back here, and that is Jackson and Jazzcas. So that was for position at the back there, so they've come together at the back and coming through the first sector. So from bad to worse for these guys. It almost looks like it's getting foggy now out there, so we're really seeing some extreme weather here, and I'm struggling to even see the cars go through the spray. Look at this spray, look at this weather, this is incredible. You can barely see them coming now. This is borderline red flag territory. This is rather dangerous, I think. So Yeah. So if you've got lights out, like this man, you're really going to struggle, because I now can't see him. There he is. So plenty of spray, no lights. This is the only section I think which is good for someone with no lights, because it does have lights on the track here, but he's really driving slow. I can't see him through that spray. Look at that. And I mean, what do you do in this situation? Look at this. This is on board, and he's taken it extremely careful, and he can't see where the apex is. I mean, it's somewhere around here. There it is. And this is the part of the circuit that is lit up, so this is the brightest part of the circuit. As Profubby's back in the pit lane now, and he's retired from the pits. Oh, that's such a shame. He's just drove through the pit lane again. His pit crew are not there, and Profubby, one of the favourites to win this race, is out of this race. That is such a shame, and it just seems like there was a few glitches with this pit stop issue, and Profubby is officially out of round 1 of this GTE championship. So now Profubby is out, everyone behind will make up a position and gain an extra point or two. With only 42 minutes remaining now, Tigger desperately hunting down 3rd place, but I think it's just a bit too much unless something happens. I mean, we've seen plenty happen so far, so top 3 can still happen, but I tell you, we have Mike. He is definitely making inroads. Now this weather has got worse and worse and worse. Mike is catching Hammy Mansell here, so maybe Hammy's tyres are going slightly off, as the last lap Hammy was a bit quicker, but it is only now 16 to 17 seconds, so he has made 3 seconds up on him. So, and at the same time, Robbie has also made some time up on these two, because he was the fastest man out of those two. So Robbie is continuously putting in these fast laps and could possibly be catching these two at the front here, but with 40 minutes left, anything can happen at the moment. We've had 3 drivers from the very start of the session of the practices to now. We've had 3 drivers quit or crash out of the whole session, and it's a real shame to see Profubby out, but with these pit stop glitches we have in this game, I do believe that was what it was. As we look through the field to see if we can find any battles here. Jackson in 10th place, Chainsaw Knife Kinduck in 7th, Kevin Stone with his ghost car. We'll see him in a minute. Where is he? There he is. Incredible. Incredible. Look at it. There's one light. There's one light there. So it's... I wouldn't like to be in this situation. Yeah, so I think Kevin needs to, for the next race, make sure he's got his lights button switched on and his windscreen wiper switched on, because this is not only dangerous for himself, but also for other drivers, because the other drivers probably won't see him. And I'm mesmerised by this, actually. I'm mesmerised because this is... I've never done this before. It's definitely something I would not want to do. So, Kevin in 7th place there. And, good little battle here. Brood is catching Dat Waldo here in 5th place. So, this is the battle here at the moment. Tigger's a bit further up the road. So there's Waldo, and there is Brood, so a couple of seconds up the road. So they'll definitely be trying to make some inroads in that with 39 minutes left now. We're on lap 12. Nearly an hour into this race. We've got someone in the pit lane. That's one of the guys at the back. Jessica's in the Ferrari. Looks like they're probably just going to be fixing some damage on his car there. There's no tyres or fuel going in at the moment. It's got plenty of fuel on board, 83 litres, so loads of fuel. Probably over-fueled at the moment. That was probably a pit stop for a bit of damage fixing. So back out the pits he goes to. Hopefully that'll be his last pit stop for the race with only 38 minutes left now, so and Brood's getting really close to now to Waldo. Yeah, Hammy Mansell's definitely losing some pace at the front there. 14 seconds now from second place. That was 20 seconds, so he's gained 5 to 6 seconds now. And third place, Robbie has also gained that time on him, so Hammy Mansell is either struggling a little bit with these conditions or his tyres are going off. It'll be interesting to see who will be the first one to pit, if anyone pits from the top 3, to get some new tyres, because Mike is definitely making inroads in first place at the moment. So will Hammy Mansell pit for some new tyres as he's gone a little bit wide? He nearly lost it there. As I switched to him, he lost it through the Porsche curve. So I got a feeling his tyres are probably going off slightly here now. Is he going to pit? Do you think he'll pit? He's not going to pit, so he's going around for another lap. He's got to be extremely careful though. He doesn't want to throw this away. He does not want to throw this away. Mike will... I should think Mike will probably play off Mansell, because if Mansell pits, then I think Mike will pit. But I don't think Mike will not be the one to pit first, I don't think. Because I don't think there's enough time for him to make a pit stop, get tyres on, and then overtake third, which is Robbie, who's close behind. He'll have to overtake third and then catch Hammy and overtake again. So unless Hammy pits, I don't see anyone else behind pitting. But I think if Hammy Mansell pits, I think the other guys may pit. So it'll be interesting to see if they do. I do hope we see another pit stop from the top 3 there as Chainsaw pits. Just put some new tyres on. Rob Molian. Molian in the pit lane there with now 95 worth of fuel in, 95 litres. I could probably see you through another hour and a half of racing that 95 litres. There's a lot of fuel there. And this is a really good battle here now. So we got Brood in 6th place, Tigger in 5th place, going slightly, losing the back end there coming out. In fact, Tigger's lost 2 places, so again, really struggling with something going on here. So I'm not sure he's liking these wet conditions here at the moment, or maybe that Porsche just churns through those wet tyres better, you know, worse than anything else, because that Waldo is now up to 4th place. And Brood is up to 5th and Tigger down to 6th. So within 1 lap, we've lost Tigger from 4th down to 6th. Yeah, the car's all over the place, so he's really struggling at the moment. So he needs to think about possibly pitting once again. So I dread to think how many pit stops these guys have made. And I thought I saw him going wide there, not quite, but yeah, there's... That Waldo is looking rather handy at the moment. He's sort of working his way through the field. Yeah, Tigger's coming back into the pits now for the last 35 minutes. It's just be interesting to see what he does to his car. Is he going? He's going to have to put some more fuel in, probably. Splash and dash, maybe chuck some new wet tyres on. But that Porsche doesn't look like it's very kind on tyres at the moment. And and the two Porsche boys at the front have really struggled to, as these guys are changing his tyres. They're not changing tyres, but they're putting a bit of fuel in. Unless they're going to change tyres. No, they do the fueling first, don't they? And then they change the tyres. So fuel's going in. 46 litres of fuel. Is he ever going to pull that thing out? 64 litres of fuel. There's a lot of fuel going in this. This is a lot of time being wasted. I think that's 81 litres of fuel. No tyres have gone on from my screen, so whether they have on his screen, 93 litres of fuel. There's a magical amount of fuel still being put in this car. He's just sitting there at the moment, not moving. He has left, so something's definitely been going on with these pits at the moment. Someone's, yeah, with everyone's pit stops have been slightly messed up by certain things, but at the moment we have Brood on only 22 litres of fuel in 5th place with half an hour left, and I'm not sure that's going to see him to the end of the race, so Brood might actually have to pit again. As Kevin comes down the final section, I'm not sure he's close enough to mount a challenge on Tigger. Tigger's coming around the first corners now, but if they haven't changed his tyres again, Tigger may have to pit again to try and get his tyres. So there's definitely some issues going on at the moment in this game where it doesn't seem to want to change the tyres. But anyway, speaking of what, Mike is only 7 seconds now behind Hammy Mansell, so this is getting extremely close with half an hour left of this race. And Mike and Robbie are both catching Hammy Mansell. So lap times, last lap. Oh no, Mike's gone off, he's got damage. That is such a shame. He was closing in. Now Rob's right behind him, and that's going to cause him real pain. With only half an hour left, all he had to do was just keep doing what he was doing. And at that particular point, Hammy has now pitted, and Hammy has pitted, and he's gone straight into the wall. Hammy has now pitted, but he has hit the wall on the way into the pit lane, so he is also going to lose some time. This is incredible. So we've got Robbie now in the pits. He won't know that Hammy has spun at the pit, so Hammy now has damage. Hammy has spun, so he's lost the same amount of time. So that spin from that spin from Robbie. Robbie's in the pits. That spin from Robbie, he won't know that he's probably gained that time back again. But the winner out of all that is Robbie, because Robbie didn't spin, he didn't pit. These two boys have spun and pit, but Hammy Mansell binned it in the pit lane, and now he's got massive amount of damage. He's got to take on some fuel, he's got to take on tyres. Half an hour left. They've got to fix this damage now, and wet tyres going on. Who's going to get out first? We've got Mike just behind him, we've got Hammy there, and they're changing all 4 tyres on that car. They're still putting fuel in Mike's car, so it doesn't like Hammy might just get out of the pits in front of Mike here. Hammy's got now 95 litres of fuel on board, and still sitting there. They're probably fixing all the damage, and they put the tyres on. Mike's actually going to get away first. No, that's the Ferrari behind, but Mike is going to get away first. Hammy's still in the pit lane here. Mike's just gone past, and he's just jumped him in the pit lane now, so Mike has just got out ahead of front, and there's probably only a couple of seconds separating the two drivers now. This is for the final podium spot here, so apologies, this is for second place, and they've come out the pits. The Ferrari taken a strange pit exit, and Mike has jumped. He will be wondering how he's done that, because what Mike doesn't know is that Hammy Mansell binned it in the pit lane, and all that damage that he's got on the front end there, that will not have been fixed. It would have been partially fixed, but not the whole thing, so he will be suffering some pits. But has Hammy Mansell thrown this win away in the last half an hour of the race? That would be such a shame if he did, because he's been so consistent, and he's not made a single error all race until the pit lane. That is such a shame. So out front, Robbie out front, 51 seconds now. What does Robbie do? Does he stay out on those warm tyres for half an hour? If he can keep that thing in a straight line for half an hour, he could win this race. But he's only got 20 litres of fuel on board, so actually no, he will have to pit and get some more fuel on board. So that's going to be close. So will he make a splash and dash? Will he take tyres on? If he does a splash and dash, then and now Oh, that's Mike. Mike's gone off. Mike's gone straight on off. This is getting so exciting now with half an hour left. They're both feeling the pressure of each other now. And now Hammy Mansell's back in second place. And Mike went straight on into the gravel there. So now he's back down into third place. And as I was saying before, I don't know what Robbie's going to do. Will he make a splash and dash and leave the pit lane without taking tyres on? Because if Robbie comes in, makes a splash and dash, he'll get out of the pits in the lead of the race. And he originally, last lap, came round in third place. So if he can make a splash and dash and not change tyres, he'll lead this race. But I've got a feeling that if he doesn't change tyres, he will really struggle towards the end of this race. So very, very interesting stuff there, with only 48 seconds separating. So these two are catching. Like 4 seconds they've taken out of Robbie now within the first 2 sectors. So Robbie will have to take tyres on if he wants to challenge for this. But these two this is now net first place with the pit stop. If Robbie pits, this will be how close the race is after just over 1 hour's racing. These two separated by just about 1 second. And Mike will be kicking himself for those 2 mistakes he made, one before the pit stop, and lights flashing at a back marker there. Back marker very kindly moves out of the way. And this is going to be exciting to watch now, to see what Robbie does now. Robbie's coming around the final part of the PCARS now. Will Robbie pit? Will he not pit? But he's going to have to at some point because he's running out of fuel. Is it going to be this lap though? Because he's losing a load of time. He's not pitting this lap, so he's going to lose so much more time now. Is he going to risk it and try and fuel save? He could try and fuel save, lift off the throttle and coast a bit to try and save that fuel. If he's looking at the times now, he's 42 seconds ahead of Hammy Mansell, who desperately wants to close on him. But I really don't think 17 litres is going to be enough for this race. If it's 4 minutes to 5 minutes a lap, you've got a decent 5 laps left or so. So that's not going to be enough fuel. He will actually have to make a splash and dash at some point. I have a feeling he should have done it that lap though, because they're catching him fast. As Hammy Mansell now comes around Porsche curves, and Mike has just goes a little bit. Hammy Mansell a little bit wide there, but he's just lost the back end of him now. And we'll keep an eye on this battle as it progresses towards the end of the race. As say spin, I thought we had a spinner there. We've got Robbie, he's now spun, so these tyres are going to be trashed. And he should have pitted the lap before, but it's all very well saying that now. He's just going through first sector, and he's lost a good 10 seconds just in that one little spin there. I was just looking at Hammy Mansell's sector times, and I saw that dropping quite a bit. So Robbie has made a really dodgy spin there, which is... So these top three struggling hard on these tyres. So we saw Hammy Mansell and Mike spinning on those worn tyres, but now Robbie is in the same situation on those worn tyres himself. So really struggling to keep that in a straight line. But I've got if he wants to think about winning this race, he has to pit. He's got to pit this lap. But I think it might just be a bit too late, because he's lost 13 seconds now from Hammy Mansell from when Hammy came out the pits. So, but there is still 25 minutes of this race left, so as we've seen before, anything can happen. But I think it may be a bit too late. As we go to Brood, who's just had a bit of an off there. And Tigger is in 5th place. After all that excitement at the front, I didn't quite see if Tigger came in the pits and changed his tyres again. As we have Chainsaw in the pit lane in 9th place. Also Jackson coming in 10th place in the pits. Still have Jess Cass in 11th. And Moley's retired from the pits, retired into the pit lane. I think he retired a couple of laps ago, but Moley unfortunately is now our second retirement from this race, along with Pro Fubby. King Bucker now the Porsche in 8th place. Doing well, he's got a decent amount of fuel on board, so he'll be looking to see it to the end. And I think they're all trying to get some heat into these tyres. That's probably why you see him weaving there. There's a bit of weaving going on the straights there. You get no heat in these tyres and these wets. And that's the other issue you have with this game. You just don't really get any heat into these at all. And Waldo in a very lonely 4th place there. But you keep it there, that'll be a good healthy fistful of points for Waldo there. But let's keep an eye on Robbie now. He's coming through into the last sector now. He's only got 12 litres on board, so will he pit and where will he come out of in front of the? Will he, can he jump these guys? If he does a splash and dash, there's a possibility he can come out quite close behind him. But I've got a feeling he's going to have to change the tyres as well if he wants to be anywhere near these guys. Mike hasn't dropped off the back of Hammy. He did a little bit, but he seems to have pegged him back a little bit now. Very tricky sector through here in the wet. So Mike's now only 33 seconds ahead. Sorry, Robbie's only 33 seconds ahead, so he needs to he has to pit this lap. If he doesn't pit this lap, it really is all over for Robbie for the win. Okay, so Robbie's going to try and see it out to the end, but if my calculations are right, he's not got enough fuel to get to the end of the race. We'll see. Maybe he knows something I don't, but we have guys in the pit lane. Brood is in the pit lane now in 7th place. A bit of extra fuel there for Brood, I think. And he's not really got any pressure from anyone behind him, so he can afford to make a pit stop. He's lost his rear wing there. He hasn't got any rear wing, so very strange looking Ford GT at the moment. But 21 minutes left of this race now. And Brood will come comfortably back out now in 7th place. Kevin Stone in that Ferrari. I'm surprised he's anywhere near 6th place at the moment with no lights and no windscreen wipers. So well done to Kevin for being so hardcore. And so yeah, I thought that was Brood. That's going to be someone coming up to lap Kevin Stone, flashing their lights. Tigger's in 5th, Waldo 3rd, Mike, Hammy. That was Robbie. So Robbie just behind the Ferrari of Kevin. As Robbie slides past with a bit of ease and nearly loses it actually on the way out. I think he hit a bit of standing water there because he nearly lost it and put it in the wall there, but Robbie's still 33 seconds ahead, so he's holding that gap, but it's the fuel issue. The fuel issue, I think what he's going to do is he's going to do what I said. He's going to do a splash and dash. I don't think he'll change tyres, so Robbie will definitely be looking at just keeping this pegged here. So yeah, the lap times are 38.3. Yes, 4 minute 38.3 for Hammy Mansell, and a 4 minute 51 actually from Robbie. So I didn't scroll up enough there, but Robbie was doing a 4 minute 51. So that was with his spin that he had the last lap, and Mike keeping Hammy Mansell honest there with a 4:38 also. Tigger 4 minutes 41, so he's catching Waldo, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's got a whole minute to catch him at the moment, and Yeah, so the battle on track is really for this first, second, third place at the moment. So that Waldo is... Let's just look on the track map. Yeah, so he's coming down the main straight now, and you have Tigger just coming through the last corners now. So yeah, he's a long way off and really struggling with that car at the moment onto the gravel there. So I think Tigger's best shot here is 5th place, as Waldo looks like his best shot is a 4th place, unless something happens to these top 3 with 18 minutes left now. Kevin Stone going really slowly here. Oh, maybe that is just going to the brake. No, he is actually driving really slowly at the moment. He's got fuel on board, so maybe he's just fell asleep on the steering wheel or something. He's just woken up now. Here we go. He's up to speed again. maybe he just couldn't see. Let's be honest. Maybe he just really couldn't see into the corner, so didn't know where it was. So yeah, Kevin's he's in a solid 6th place there. Brood's had a bit of a spin, I think, there as he's coming off the corner really slowly. He's got one backlight out. The car's all over the place. He's got a bit of steering angle problems there. So I think he's had a bit of a connection with the wall there, which gives King Buck a bit of a hope. Going past someone else with no lights. So King Buck has got a sniff of 7th place here, because he's 30 seconds behind Brood. So yeah, as Brood makes another spin, so yeah, King Buck, if he can, he's just kept it on thing, so King Buck can actually catch him up here. So definitely, and no, because King Buck, this is a really tricky corner. Everyone's really got there. We've got a pit stop. Robbie is in the pits now, so with only 16 minutes left, Robbie's in the pits. They're changing tyres. They're just putting a bit of fuel in. Will they change tyres though? If they change tyres, he's going to lose a lot more time. Could possibly just be a splash and dash, as the Aston Martin in front of us has just got out. There's a lot of fuel going on board. There's a lot of fuel there. No, they're changing tyres as well, so this is definitely going to be... They're not changing tyres. He's gone. It looked like they were changing tyres. It looked like they undone the bolts of his car, or of his wheels, but as Hammy Mansell goes through, takes 1st place. And where's he going to come out? He's coming side by side with Mike, but Mike just takes that 3rd place. But that looked like they were changing his front tyres, and he just drove off. Sorry, mate, I don't want my tyres changed. I'm going. And I think if he didn't do that, if he didn't just drive off, I think he definitely would not have had a shot. But he's only 4 seconds behind now, so only 15 minutes left. And the top 3 are separated by 4 seconds. So after 1 hour, 15 minutes racing, 4 seconds is what separates the top 3 drivers now. So, Robbie, there's too much fuel went on board there for Robbie. 62 litres. A little bit less amount, a small amount of fuel would have been sufficient, but it's going to be really difficult to judge what the best amount of fuel is to put in. And as Hammy Mansell takes the lead once again with only 3.7 seconds though this time. It's not a 20-second gap like we're used to, Hammy. You've now only got 3.5 seconds to take this win, and 15 minutes left of the session. So as Mike's flashing his lights frantically at the Aston Martin of someone, apologies, there we go. So the Aston Martin pulls out the way and lets the top 3 through. 2.8 seconds now, so Mike is catching what's going on. We got something's happened to Hammy Mansell. He's going down the straight and he's just got straight into the wall. Something's going on. I don't know, I can't quite see because the camera's not there, but something happened to Hammy where I have no idea how he's done that in a straight line. Maybe he hit some standing water, but once again the lead has now changed, and now Mike takes the lead. So it is happening within minutes of the race ending, and Hammy Mansell now again is in second place and has it to do. Tried to get in first. So
Robbie's still looking at this as well, but I think his tyres are shot. But now this is the lead. This is the lead here. Mike is in first place. Hammy Mansell's only 0.6 of a second behind. He's going to have the slipstream on him. He's going to speedo off this here, and Mike's going to have to start defending again. But Hammy Mansell is making this race so hard for himself. He's really he had a 20-second lead, and these drivers are struggling as Mike makes a bit of a mistake, and Hammy Mansell goes through to take the lead again. And Mike, and there's been an accident. They've hit each other. Two drivers into the wall there. We've lost a rear wing. Now Robbie is on the inside. There's some lights being flashed. You can't flash. That's for position. And Robbie goes through. That looks like Hammy's race done because he has got a huge amount of aero damage. In fact, he has no rear wing, and Hammy goes off. He hits the wall. That is such a shame. And it looks like the two drivers collided there. And there's so much standing water on this track now that, one false move and you'll be smashing straight into the side of the wall or into an opponent. And now, after all of what I said before, Robbie looks very healthy in this because he's the one without any damage. Is he going to come down the inside of Mike? Is he going to make the move on the inside? Not quite down the inside there, so Mike still holds on to that first place as Hammy has dropped 12 seconds back now, so really struggling. So there might be a bit of an appeal there from Hammy and a bit of a replay to see what happened there. But at the moment we got Mike in first place trying to defend from Robbie. Robbie needs to be careful. Robbie's gone off. Robbie's gone off. He's pulled out the slipstream, and it looks like he's gone straight onto the grass and hit the tyre wall there, hit the Armco there. So now 3 seconds back and some more damage with 12 minutes left. It's all happening on all this time and being lost through these mistakes in the wet, and it just looked like he was in a slipstream. He's pulled out and he's hit some standing water or something. I want to say standing water all the time because these drivers are losing it in places where really it shouldn't be lost in them particular places, but it's so tricky out there. So Robbie is now 2 seconds back, and Mike in the Corvette now leading. And this is exactly what he wanted. So now we've got Robbie right up the chuff of a back marker, and the back marker needs to get out of the way as Robbie now in pursuit once again. He's still got 11 minutes left. He's 2.5 seconds back, so he's still got a chance. And Hammy Mansell is now into the pits. He's got a free pit stop on his hands because Tigger, I think, is just a bit too far back. As I say that, he has overtaken Dat Waldo quite some time ago. So apologies for not bringing you that before, but it looks like Tigger has finally got past Waldo for 4th place as Hammy Mansell is in the pits. And such a shame. He had this. He had this right. I'll be honest, I thought he was the one to win it. The rear wing magically goes back on, so he's got his rear wing back. But I thought he was the one that was going to win this. After that, I think where it was lost was into the pit exit entry when he slammed it into the wall. And I think after that, the car was wrecked and it always had damage. And I think then really it's easy to get flustered. When you see the drivers coming up behind you with their lights, it's so off-putting as well. So I don't know where Tigger is. Tigger's quite far back from 3rd at the moment, but he's still going to keep pushing. As Robbie's now 3 seconds back off Mike with exactly 10 minutes to go. So Hammy Mansell comes back out the pits now with a refreshed car, and look at that big puddle. Look at that puddle on the right hand side there. So there's a huge puddle, huge standing puddle. I've not seen that. Maybe other people have seen that, but I didn't see that previously, and it's a huge puddle everyone's avoiding there, so there's a few of those about on track for sure, but Hammy Mansell is remained in third place, and 30 seconds behind Tigger, just coming through turn 1 now, as we have Waldo in 5th, Kevin Stone with the lightless car in 6th, King Buck 7th, Brood in 8th, Jackson 9th, doing very well actually, considering the race he's had in that Aston Martin. He started up the back row of the grid, he's now up to 9th place, so cracking race there from Jackson, keeping his nose clean. Chainsaw in 10th, with Jaskas in that Ferrari in 11th place, and Moley, retiree, as Mike is now pulling away about 1.5 seconds each sector. Is looking good for the win if he can just keep it steady. He's got no rear lights, he's got no brake lights either, so and it's definitely, yep, Robbie has just spun again going through Indianapolis, so I was about to say that is definitely looking good now for Mike, because Robbie has definitely lost the edge to first place, but it's been a great effort there from Robbie, but unless Mike makes a huge mistake now, then I can't see Mike losing this one. He just needs to keep it steady, and Robbie just needs to hope that Mike makes a mistake if he wants to win this one. And Hammy back, and I tell you, is that, oh sorry, I thought that was Tigger behind him there, but it's not, that's a back marker. But Hammy Mansell's really struggling at the moment. I think once you've had one off, once you've had someone hit you, or once you've spun once, it's so hard to regain that momentum you were once in. I've done that quite a few times, and when you're in that momentum, when you're in that zone where you're continuously pumping in great laps, and you're in the top 3, or even in Hammy Mansell's case, when you're in the lead, when you're in the front, when you're in front like that, and you're so consistent, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to get out of that zone. The only way you're going to get out of that zone is by one of the easiest things to do, is by spinning, and it's so easy to spin when you're in that zone, if that makes sense. When you're concentrating so much, the easiest thing to do is to spin and lose your concentration within that split second. All your confidence has gone, and that just seems like what's happened to Hammy Mansell here, which is a shame. He had a bit of contact, I believe, with Mike, and yeah, so for Hammy Mansell it went from really, really great to worse, and for Tigger it went from really bad to extremely devastating, and the same with Pro Fubby, who's unfortunately retired from this race. So the 3 drivers I thought that would be right up there fighting for the win were not to be. So it just shows you how this can change with this, with the weather and everything. Definitely good to watch, but we've got Tigger on the move at the moment. He's really fast. He's faster than the top 3 at the moment, Tigger. So I'm not quite sure he's going to have enough in him to catch up Hammy Mansell, though, unless Hammy makes a mistake. But it looks like, as I said, yeah, Mike made a mistake. Mike has definitely made a mistake somewhere, because it's only 4 seconds now. So, as I said previously, all Mike needs to do is keep it on track, but it looks like he's made a bit of an error there. So, Robbie's got a sniff of a chance here with only 4 minutes left now. So, he's not fuel saving. He can't be fuel saving, is he? No, he's got 45 litres on board, so Mike's not fuel saving. So he must have had an issue somewhere, because Mike's dropped off the pace a bit. So 4 seconds between Robbie and Mike. Hemi Mansell's 46 seconds behind, so not really much chance Hemi can make this a race win for himself today, unfortunately. Everyone's really spread out at the moment, so the only closest battle we have is for first and second place on lap 19 with 3 minutes left, as Robbie goes extremely wide there, and we will see if Mike can get in one more lap, and I believe he might just get one more lap in after this lap. All he needs to do now is just keep his head for the final few minutes. I don't think this is their last lap. No, I think they'll have another lap after this. So Mike is on his penultimate lap here with 7-8 seconds. It's dropping, something's happened to Rob, so he's lost it again, and I think he's lost his rear wing as well. Yes, he has. He's lost his rear wing, so he'll be extremely light on the rear end at the moment. And that is going to be really hard to keep on track for the next lap or so, because Hemi Mansell is 36 seconds behind. But Hemi Mansell doesn't have a broken car, and at the moment Robbie is going to find that car hard to even drive in a straight line. So yes, it's 35 seconds, but we've seen what can happen in one lap as Robbie goes off. So this is Hemi Mansell's chance. He can take second place if Rob keeps doing what he's doing and not being able to control this car with that amount of damage he's got. He's got so much damage, he can barely keep it going in a straight line at the moment. This is devastating for Robbie at the moment, because Hemi Mansell is now reeling him, and he's taken 8 seconds off of Robbie, and Robbie's still got another lap to go yet. So he could even, Tigger might even catch him. As he spun off again. So this is definitely going to really hurt him now, because this is going to end up being off the podium, because Hemi Mansell at this rate will catch him. And with 1 minute 30 left, we've got Mike starting his final lap now. So Mike has got a 20-second lead now, starting his final lap. And with 1 minute 20 left, we have Robbie, who's spun again. Hemi Mansell is coming round the final sector. Tigger is 37 seconds behind Hemi Mansell. So surely Robbie won't pit. Will he pit? He can't pit, because if he pits, he's definitely lost all of his time. He's pitting. So, yeah, that is such a shame for Robbie. That is the biggest upset for this race. 50 seconds left to come round to start his last lap, and there's no way he can continue on at that rate with the car, with the damage that he's got. So he has to pit. He's now going to sacrifice his second, third, and possibly fourth place. It's just a matter of where he comes out. Is he going to come out ahead of Tigger? What he doesn't need the pit crew to do now, he doesn't need any more fuel, so let's just hope he doesn't put the fuel in, as Hemi Mansell is about to pass him in the pit lane. And oh, that is rotten luck. He's just drove straight through the pit lane. Where's his pit crew? There's no pit crew. He's drove straight through the pit lane. As Hemi Mansell is he's just stopped. He wants to finish the race. Okay, so he doesn't want to do another lap. Hemi Mansell's come third, and I'm not sure he realises that if he would have completed that lap, I believe he would have got second place there. Because I'm not sure. I think that might be Robbie's race over anyway. As a bit of an anticlimax to the end there, with drivers slowing down on the start-finish line to not complete the next lap. But as we see, Mike has gone on to take what looks like is going to be round one win at Le Mans for Mike, UA 495. that has been a really good race there from Mike, and Rob there in second place, I think, has got away with it, because I think his race has finished, meaning he is no longer in control of this car. The AI has taken over, and I believe he has now officially got second place for that. And Hami Mansell would have taken third place. I'm still unsure if this race is over as Hami Mansell goes through into second place. I think this is the last lap. It's so difficult because there's no last lap timings coming up here, but we will treat this as the last lap. But Hami Mansell on my screen has gone through into second place, and Robbie, it looks like he's going to lose third place as well, because Tigger is still going on. This is the last lap, and Mike is coming round the final sectors now, so Mike, regardless of anybody else, will take this race win, providing he doesn't leather his car into the wall. "20 laps completed of an hour-and-a-half race here, and what a race we've seen, with some huge upsets, with people spinning, massive amount of water on the track, debris everywhere, tyre wear has been huge here, pit stop errors, pit stop glitches. It's been something to learn from all the drivers, that's for sure. As Mike comes through the final sector now, through the Porsche curves for the last time for Mike. Driving extremely slow at the moment. Probably just trying to keep it all in one bit to get across the line. Make sure it doesn't do anything silly. As he comes through the chicane for the final time. Mike UA wins round 1 of the GTE Championship, and congratulations to Mike. 18 points goes to Mike. 20 laps, race is now complete. So that was the final lap, so Hami does come away, or does he? Hami is in second place, but Tigger, after all of his issues that he's had, he is in third place, and he's only 2 seconds, 1.5 to 2 seconds up the road from Hami Mansell. Can he take second place? But this is for Robbie. Yeah, this is for Robbie, probably the worst last couple of laps he's had. All his lights are out and everything. No, all the damage has been done, but this is going to be really close. So coming towards the end of the race now, look at this. This is through Porsche curves. This is the final lap. This is after an hour and a half's worth of racing. There's only 2 tenths separating these two drivers now. Tigger is just behind Hami Mansell. Hami Mansell coming around the final sector now with his one lighted half bumpered car. They've both gone extremely wide. Here comes Tigger. Tigger's giving him a bit of a bump. They're coming down the inside into the first chicane. Tigger is on the inside. He's taken second place. And Hami Mansell is now in third place. There's no way he's going to make a diving move. It's too far back. And it looks like after all of that, Tigger is going to come home in second place. That just shows you, if you make enough pit stops and you persevere, you can come out the other end clean. As Hami Mansell comes across the line, it looked like he was going to get him on the end. That was extremely close. That was close. That was 1/10 of a second that separated the top two, second and third place there. So Hami Mansell, it says, came second, but Tigger did come second in that race. Hami Mansell was third, and Robbie Kills is going to lose fourth, as that looked like Waldo came flying down the inside there of Robbie, and they just both collided into each other, and Robbie is can't keep that track, they can't keep that car in a straight line at all anymore. Looks like he's got flat tyres and no wheels, but that Waldo's coming for a second bite at the cherry here, because he's going to catch him through these chicanes here as Robbie's defending hard for this 4th place. But what a shame for Robbie there. He's done all he can to try and win that race, but what could have been for Robbie there. So Robbie 4th, that Waldo 5th, and Kevin Stone in 6th there. And that was such a shame there. I didn't see the rest of the results there. So Mike Uwe wins round 1 of the GTE Championship with Hammy Mansell in 2nd. Tigger is your top 3 there, with Robbie Kills 4th. Shame for Robbie, what could have been. And Dat Waldo 5th. Kevin Stone 6th. King Buck 7th. And Brood in 8th. Jackson 9th. Chainsaw 10th. Just Cass 11th. Moley as a retiree was in 12th. Pro Fubby, unfortunate, could have seen so much more from him, retired from the race on lap 10 halfway through the race. So, and yeah, that was an extremely interesting race. I think the one thing that stood out for me was Robbie there. He drove, I think he went straight through the pit lane on the end there, and that was a real shame. That was a real shame for Robbie there, because he just needed a bit of damage fixing, let's say, but there was some 10-second penalties. Hammy Mansell did come second. I apologise. Hammy Mansell, no, he did come second, because of course Tigger had the 10-second penalties, so Hammy Mansell would have come second. That's why it's changed it on my screen as they come across the line. So yeah, apologies for not seeing that. I forgot about these penalties, as Brood has a 50-second penalty there. Wow. So yeah, Tigger came third in the end. He came across the line in second, but did come third with that 10-second penalty. So Hammy Mansell, after all of that, Mike and Hammy and Tigger are your top 3. So yeah, that was a very interesting race for me to see some of these names and who I'll be looking out for the next round, and very, very interesting and great racing as well. Very tricky conditions, and what a circuit to start off with, the 24-hour Le Mans circuit. So anyway, I'm Chris Daines. I've been your commentator for this GTE Championship, and I will catch you for round 2, hopefully. If I can make it and broadcast it for you, I'll catch you for round 2. And I hope you've all enjoyed this. I've certainly enjoyed it, and we will catch you for the next round.